Assalamualaikum and hello students. How are you? Today we are going to continue the lesson on the topic absorption, and I hope all of you are excited and ready to learn. Now let's begin. Okay, before we move on to the lesson, as usual we have to look into the learning standard. The first learning standard is to identify the structure of a villi in the ileum, and second is to communicate about the adaptation of ileum and villi in the absorption of the digested food. What is nutrient absorption? Anyone knows the answer? Okay, no one knows. Let me explain to you. Actually, nutrient absorption is referred to the process by which the nutrients and small molecules produced from the digested food are absorbed in the ileum of the small intestine and are taken up by the body from the digestive system into the bloodstream. So far, do you understand, students? Next, this is the three crucial parts of the nutrient absorption in the small intestine, which is ileum, vilus, and also microvillus. After this, in the next slide, we will learn about all these three parts in more detail about their structure and also the function. Okay. This is the structure of an ileum. The ileum is the final portion of the small intestine, measuring around like 3 meters and ends at the cecum. And the long ileum is adapted to absorb the nutrients because its internal layer is folded and covered by the tiny projection called as villi. And the ileum is responsible for the further absorption of nutrients that were not fully absorbed in the earlier part of the small intestine. And these include the absorption of bile salts, vitamin B12, and any remaining nutrients such as fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and certain ions. Next, the ileum, along with the rest of the small intestine, plays a role in the absorption of water, electrolyte, and to ensuring the proper hydration and maintaining the body electrolyte balance. Okay, next we move to the vilus. Here is vilus adaptation to absorb the nutrient. Firstly is epithelial layer of the vilus is one cell thick, and this helps to accelerate the nutrient absorption. And second is goblet cell that secrete the mucus to aid the digestion. Third is the network of the blood capillaries that help to transport the digestive product to the whole body. And fourth is lacteal. Lacteal is if we carry the droplet of fatty acid and also glycerol. And lastly is the intestinal gland that will secrete the intestinal juice that have the digestive enzyme. The last crucial part of nutrient absorption in the small intestine is microvilli. Microvilli are tiny and finger-like projections that extend for the surface of the certain cells in the body. And microvilli enhance the efficiency of various cellular functions by increasing the surface area available for the absorption, secretion, sensory reception, and cellular adhesion. And it also provides a large surface area to increase the rate of the nutrient absorption. So far, do you understand what I explained, students? Okay, good. move to the next part. Here is the table showing the method of food absorption in the ileum. Firstly, fructose is absorbed through the epithelial cell into the blood capillaries by the facilitated diffusion. And second, glucose, galactose, amino acid are absorbed through the epithelial cell into the blood capillary by the active diffusion. And third is vitamin B and C are absorbed through the epithelial cell into the blood capillaries is by absorbed with water. And water is absorbed through the epithelial cell into the blood capillary is by osmosis. Then the fatty acid, glycerol and vitamin A, D, E and K are absorbed through the epithelial cell into the lacteal by simple diffusion. Okay, now let's watch a video about absorption of the digested food.
Small intestine is kind of like a sieve. It has small holes in it. Small molecules are able to pass through those holes, whilst large molecules cannot. So carbohydrates, proteins and fats are all too large to pass through the holes in the small intestine. But sugars, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol are all small enough to pass through. Sugars and amino acids pass through the holes into the blood capillary, while fatty acids and glycerol pass into the lacteal of the villi. These small molecules move by diffusion, moving from a high to a low concentration. For example, the small intestine has a high concentration of sugar molecules, whereas the blood supplying the small intestine has a low concentration of sugar. So the sugar moves down its concentration gradient from a high concentration in the small intestine, through the holes in the villi, into the blood capillary, where it's in low concentration. Sugar, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol all use diffusion to move into the blood within the small intestine. So after digestion breaks down large molecules into small molecules, absorption of the small molecules happens inside our small intestine by diffusion into the blood vessels. What an amazing system!
Okay, now let's continue with the alcohol absorption. The majority of alcohol absorptions take place in the small intestine, and the alcohol moves from the stomach to the small intestine, where it is further broken down and absorbed into your bloodstream. And 20% of the alcohol absorbed to the stomach and 80% is absorbed to the small intestine. And once it's absorbed, alcohol enters the bloodstream and where it's quickly distributed throughout the body. From the bloodstream, alcohol can reach various organs and tissue, including the brain, liver, and all muscle. And the liver is primarily responsible for metabolizing the alcohol, and it produces enzymes, specifically alcohol dehydrogenase, which break down the alcohol into the acetaldehyde and then into the acetic acid. Acetic acid is further metabolized into the carbon dioxide and water, which can be eliminated from the human body. And it's important to note that rate of alcohol absorption can be influenced by several factors, including like the concentration of alcohol consumed, the presence of food in your stomach, and the individual's body weight, metabolism, and other physiological factors. And for example, when there is no food in your stomach, it takes like 1 hour for the alcohol to be absorbed. And if you have food in the stomach, it takes like around 2 hours for the alcohol to be absorbed. Okay, so here is the summary for today's topic. First, nutrient. Nutrient is essential substance required for both energy and also for the overall health. Second is digestive system. It is the system that is responsible for breaking down the food and absorbing the nutrients. Third is organ. The main organs involved in the nutrient absorption are small intestine, large intestine, and also the stomach. For the small intestine, the main site of the nutrient absorption, because it due to its the large surface area and also specialized in the structure, which is villi, microfilament and also capillaries. And 5 is the nutrient types, which is we have the carbohydrate that broken down into the simple sugar, which is glucose. We have protein, which is the digested into amino acid. Fats, which is being broken down into the fatty acid and also glycerol. And we have vitamins and also mineral, which is being absorbed by the small intestine to the active transport and also diffusion. And we also have the large intestine. Large intestine is absorb the water and also electrolyte from the undigested food and forming the vessels. Okay, number 7 is we have the circulatory system. It transports the absorbed nutrient from the small intestine to the body cell via the bloodstream. And lastly is the importance. Nutrient absorption is crucial for providing the energy, supporting growth and maintaining the bodily functions. Okay, that's all for today's absorption topic. Teacher hope all of you gain new knowledge from today's lesson. And thanks for watching.